Well, hello, everybody. DP Gates back here for another awesome consultant interview. We've got Joe Trimboli here. He's a great guy. I got to know him a little bit, but I haven't got to know him on a more in-depth level. So actually, I'm excited to have you here today, Joe, and get to know you a little better. And everybody else get to know you. So welcome and thanks for being here.
Thanks, DP. I'm excited to get to know you better too, man.
Absolutely. We're having a great talk before this about, the truth always resonates, and you don't need a script with the truth because it just resonates with people's soul. And he's got a great story. So I'm kind of excited to get into it. So what I'd like to do is just for everybody to get to know you a little bit better, give them a kind of a glimpse on where you were pre-PGI, before PGI, what you were doing, some of your challenges, your ups and your downs, and then obviously what led you to PGI, and then we can go a little bit more in depth there.
Yeah, so I was a mortgage broker. I still am a mortgage broker. I was a mortgage broker. I was frustrated. I was 40 years old, struggling. Felt like if there was no such thing as bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. I had cancer when I was like 22, bankrupt when I was 35, married, 3 kids, not knowing where the heck I was going to get the next payment, where the money was going to come from. Hating the industry I was in, 16 years in the mortgage business. And, a conversation with somebody that was in the Thinking into Results program at the time, one of my referral sources, we just had a really cool conversation. He wasn't making me wrong about anything. He invited me to just kind of change the way I was looking at things. That conversation caused me to sort of realize that I was sitting on an acre of diamonds or 3 feet from gold. I was in an industry, I just changed my perspective. I was in an industry where there was no ceiling to what I could earn. I could make my own hours. I was meeting great people. I was having conversations like the one I was having. He just gave me a different perspective. And that led me to speaking with a consultant. I enrolled into Thinking into Results. I didn't have the money, but the consultant worked with me, and I'm glad that he did. I mean, my paradigm got me, and I didn't want to do it after. And I often think, had he let me off the hook because of my money paradigm, I'd still possibly be where I was at. It's the scariest thought because, man, it paid off. It paid off quickly, and I've never looked back. I took an industry that I was in for 16 years, achieving mediocre results, multiple 6 figures. 5 times my income. I became top, I think 1% in the industry. I was asked to speak. And as I used the information from Thinking into Results in my life, as I started to understand it and apply it, everything got better, and there were some magical things that happened. I was given the car that I was wanting, a 75 Alpha Spider, and there's all these other things that kind of happen. And I leave all that stuff out because they're long stories and they're kind of like, that's not why you would sign up for a program like this. You sign up because it allows you to express yourself more fully. It gives you an understanding. So I went from totally unaware of things. Like my luck was not luck. There's no such thing. It was cause and effect. I was putting my energy into the wrong things. Energy is always moving to form, right? I was thinking about the wrong things. Thoughts are energy. So all of that. And it led me to really falling in love with the information. And I think where I was at about 2 years after I enrolled in Thinking into Results, I was invited to become a consultant. And I think I enrolled more so just to work more closely with Bob, the consultant training. I knew I'd have more time studying. I wasn't in harmony with being a coach at that time, not yet. But I knew I wanted to share the information with as many people as I could. And then just things happened almost by magic. And here we are.
That's so cool. You said something that I thought was very powerful, that the consultant didn't let you off the hook. And I was telling this story to Monica the other day, and I said, I had this chance meeting with Bob when I was 25, and we were at an airport, and I'd been studying this stuff for 6 years, knew it really well, probably could get up on stage and regurgitate it. I would have been a fraud at the time because my results were awful. But I remember he had this superpower, and I think it's something it's a very powerful thing when you can move people into action and you can help them because you know you're gonna help them on the other end. Like the other end, you've been there, you've done it. And he didn't let me off the hook either. And taking action is really the only way to create permanent change. And my God, look at the ripple effect you've had. So let's talk about now, now you're in PGI, like fill us in what you've created, what you're doing, maybe some cool stories of what you've done for some of your clients, and just fill us in on that.
Yeah. So, one of the things you learn is, I don't know, my screen's glitchy. One of the things you learn is that action cancels fear. And a lot of the times we're waiting to have it all figured out. I knew I was in harmony with sharing this information. There's no need for people to be struggling the way they are. The struggle comes from just a lack of understanding, not knowing who we are, not knowing the laws of our thinking, not knowing the laws of the universe and things that govern everything, right? Like, things will always fall down. Doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person, but for some reason we think that because we're good people, we should get ahead, and it's not fair when bad things happen. And why do bad things happen to good people and all that stuff? It's just the only thing that we don't have is the awareness and the principles and the knowledge to back the right thinking, the proper thinking. So I became very passionate about sharing the information with as many people as I could. I just, if somebody was complaining to me about something, I would do the same thing that my friend Silvio did with me, change my viewpoint, right? Take a different perspective. And they'd often come back later and tell me how much they benefited from it, how the result ended up working out in a much different way. And I realized that, it was more than just, I guess, that surface level mindset. When you change the way you think, you're changing the way you feel, and then eventually take action, it changes the results. So from that, I didn't know how it was going to happen, how I was going to be sharing this information with people all over the world, but the wake-up call came as a result. And that was a call. I had originally started it. I was myself and the first 3 clients that I had led through thinking into results, friends of mine too. I said, guys, you know what? Bob recommends we study, we read together. It's all about study. I said, why don't you get on a call and read with me? I'm up at 6 reading. So we got on a call. We would do that. And that went on for about 1.5 years, maybe 2. And I was so protective of that little group. It was our little mastermind. Every morning, Monday to Friday, we'd read. And then we'd discuss what we read. And these guys would talk about it. And eventually we moved our time slot up to like 5:30. And I started getting asked, hey, I heard you got this call, it's really cool. Can I join? I was like, no, I don't want to change the dynamic. Anyways, eventually, when you accept an idea in your subconscious mind, not to get into the teaching part of things, but when we accept an idea, our subconscious has the answers. We're tapped into this universal mind, and it knows exactly what to do to get you the thing that you're in harmony with. I did a workshop after I did this talk in Mexico. And at the workshop, at the end of it, I'm looking at these people, knowing that they're going to walk out the room. They were all empowered. They're all feeling great. They were very thankful to have been there. But I was like, these guys are going to walk out and probably not think much about the stuff that we talked about here today. And I heard the words leave my mouth. As the words were leaving my lips, inviting them to reach out to me to join this call that I had in the morning. I'm like, what are you saying, man? But that ended up being what is now a community. It's an incredible community. I've had 1,200 people come through and join the wake-up call. I've had people in Australia and Thailand, Mexico, the UK, all over North America. I'm sharing this information with people all over the world. And we'd get up, I'd get on a Zoom call, we'd read for about 20 minutes, and then I'd break it down. And the results were just incredible. I've got a 64-year-old man, incredible guy, quit drinking after 42 years of trying and failing, restored a relationship with his daughter because of that. I've got, women that had been home after having raised their kids for 10 years, having lost their sense of purpose, that ended up going out, becoming entrepreneurs, starting businesses, going back to work. We all fall into this rut. And we're not expressing ourselves, and then we feel like we don't have a passion, we don't want anything, we feel stuck, we feel down, we're not motivated, and we don't have the understanding. So, different. I have lawyers on the call who just bought into a bigger picture. I've got, and it's all like all the information born of thinking into results, and it's incredible. One woman from a penthouse downtown to having a 10-acre piece of land where she has her animals and she does retreats. She's voted #1 in hip camp. It's just, we can have whatever we want. We can create the life we want, but we got to start working in harmony with the laws. And how do you do that if you don't know what the laws are and how they operate, right?
Yeah. Bob used to always say, you can, reading and repeating doesn't mean it. Knowing is the inward experience of a thing, not repeating it. And that's really what you teach. Like, you're teaching them how to go, well, play a bigger version of themselves for sure, but to go inward and find the truth maybe behind what they think is the truth. Like, we're all married to a certain truth. There's a whole nother layer of truth. And I think, people like yourself and our consultants who are personally trained by PGI through the whole process, you end up learning a lot about yourself, and the better you become, the more you can serve others and help them. And what do you think some of the most valuable stuff you've learned as far as the training that you've gone through with PGI and like the process of becoming a consultant and all that?
Well, I'll start with a lesson. I think the biggest lesson that took me a while to really accept, and I still struggle with it, is don't worry about the how. When I look back, I had no idea. So for me, it was, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm sharing this information with people all over the world. I had no idea how that was going to happen. I had no idea who wanted to listen to me, where I was going to go talk to these people, how people from other parts of the world were going to hear about me. But I was in harmony with it, and I just started sharing it. And it's in the action that you figure things out, right? Like, you go as far as you can go with what you got, and when you get there, you'll go further. So that was and remains a big lesson. I see it with a lot of the people in thinking into results, and it's still the how kind of robs you of what you really want, and you don't even really realize that it's the how that's sneaking up, right? Yeah. We get stuck on it. We don't allow ourselves to make the decision to want anything.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think? What are some of your goals moving forward with everything? Where do you see this all taking you?
Well, I want to share this with as many people as possible. Honestly, like, you really become aware as you see people. Every single person that becomes aware of this, it's like you've turned the lights on and they can see for the first time. I think everyone that hears this information knows that it's true. Intuitively, we know it's true. But there's this gap between what we know and then, embodying or doing it. Bob called it the knowing doing gap. But yeah, just, 1 million members all over the world. I have no idea how that's going to happen, but I'll keep showing up and sharing what I can, taking people along with me on that journey, using the material and teaching people thinking into results is unbelievable. Like, that program has everything you need in it. I remember before having done thinking into results, I had done all kinds of like coaching programs for my industry that would tell you how to go out and get business, how to talk to people, here are the scripts, all the strategies, all the stuff. And if I were to do those things, it would have worked. But there's many people that have that kind of training, but they don't do the things they know they should be doing. And so thinking into results gives you, starts with setting a goal. Now you know where you're heading. And then, you think you're a GPS. It doesn't help to just know the destination. And until you tell it where you're at, your GPS isn't going to tell you how to get there. So you got to know where you're at, and where you're at is a result of the paradigm, how you're programmed, what you're thinking, what your beliefs are. And so, I believe it's something that everybody should have. It's a toolkit that they'll have for their whole entire lives. And we should always be setting a new goal. And this will take you from setting the goal to achieving the goal with everything that you need in between.
Yeah.
And it happens by law. That's what's cool.
Yeah, that's good. I used to do that too. I took a lot of program. I always tell people I took a lot of self-study stuff. It was easy to start. It was easy to stop. There was no real direction. And even if I did get some direction, it was very vague. And when I finally got here, I realized that what we teach, what Bob taught, and what we continue to teach and carry on the torch is like he had two things I thought this separates us from anybody else out there. One was we have a spiritual foundation to what we teach. And if you don't have a spiritual foundation, what you teach, it's incomplete. And then the second thing is, we get down to the root cause of the results, which is the paradigm. So when I went through his coaching, like that's what changed for me. Like I was studying the material for a long time, but then I actually started to study myself through the material. And that's when I created a new paradigm. I was like, whoa, this really works. So it's a powerful process. But so tell me if someone was watching and let's say they've never been a coach and they want to become a coach, or maybe they already are a coach and they just want to add this on to speed up the process. What advice would you give someone that's looking in going, I'm interested. I mean, possibly I'll do this.
It's just do it. Like whether you're looking to become a coach, a better leader, a better manager, a better parent, a better partner, whatever. This is about becoming a more effective human being and understanding who you are. Like we've all heard the quotes, right? Like we have so much potential and you're capable of anything. And we're only using 10% of all these things, but like how much do you understand it? And I mean, if you're a coach looking to be a better coach, thinking to results, you'll gain an understanding of things in a much deeper way. If you're a manager, I mean, I use this with my clients, right? Like when you learn about cause and effect, when you start treating causes and not symptoms, you're doing that with your clients, you're doing that with your family, you're doing that with your friends. To be able to hear when somebody's speaking, back of the words, there's a cause. What they're telling you about are the symptoms. And when you start to get to the root of the problem, like you said, DP, it's everything. So no matter who you are, where you're at, what industry, what you're looking to do, whether it's for you or other people, it's everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always tell people I think this is the greatest environment in the world. Like the culture here, the standard that's been set, there's nothing quite like it. When they get into it, they're blown away. So, I wanted to thank you for being here.
Big things I benefited from is the community. I've got friends all over the world. I got friends in Ireland and Australia, like all because of the community that came with thinking to results in PGI. It's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like Jim Rohn used to always say that, right? Your network is your net worth. It's so true. And I've got to watch it for years. I met Bob like 20 years ago. So I've seen it before Sandy, after Sandy. It's been a wild ride. So, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your story. I'm glad I got to know you a little bit better today. You're a pretty cool dude. You got a lot of great insight. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's fun. Thanks, DP.
Well, thanks for being here, and everybody, thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you at the next one.